bitch. Is that better? Is bitch better? Is bitch better? Is bitch better?
Hey, bitches. Welcome back to another episode of Bitches Better Love Island Edition. I'm your host, Raven. And even though these people are working my last nerve, I'm still having a good time. Let's get into why and talk about episode 13. So Trinity and Anaya chat, and Anaya's telling her about her chat with Casey, and she's like, yeah, he was saying I can't expect him to be serious 100% of the time. And I was like, no, I didn't say that. I just want you to be serious for 5 minutes. And he's taking that as, oh, I don't want you exploring, but I never said that. I never said that shit. She's getting worked up. She's clapping and everything. No, you didn't outright say it, but your actions are kind of saying it, and like your constant need for reassurance. So that's not nothing. And Trinity was like, well, if he wants to talk to Soul, just let him and see what happens. If he likes her, he likes her. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's the only way you're going to know if you really have something good. That's what happened. That's what happened with me and Bryce. And I said, okay, well, that's where you lose me. Because yes, that's what happened with you and Bryce, but y'all don't like each other for real. So come on. And then Anaya was like, I don't give a fuck if he talks to Soul because I never said you can't talk to anyone in this villa. And if I was Trinity, I would have I would have grabbed her hands and I would have said, "Hey, this is me you're talking to, okay? Like you don't have to pretend. I know you care if he talks to her. Just say that. Like I'm your friend, you can tell me." But instead, Trinity is like, "Okay, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to move?" And I said, "Yes, asking the right questions." And she's like, "I don't know because I really like him and I don't like being upset with him, but he's really frustrating me." And then in the beach hut, she was like, I just really wish that I could go through Casey's brain and figure out where all these issues came from because I have no idea. And if he wants to do what he wants to do, I'm just going to be a bad bitch and be myself. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's the right attitude. So Anaya is feeling bamboozled in a way by Casey in their conversation because, he was coming at her with some issues that he had. And she's like, well, this is the first I'm hearing of it. So she felt taken aback because it's like, well, where is this coming from? She thought everything was fine on his end, I guess. And I mean, she didn't really say all of that, but like that's what I gathered, right? Because I don't know why else she would feel bamboozled. But I'm starting to not care anymore, to be completely honest with you, because she doesn't like him like that. And also, he's getting on my nerves too, because he's being a scary ass bitch and not pulling soul for chats when he wants to. So I'm just kind of over them in this whole conversation. And so then Casey talks to Zach and Bryce, aka Dumb and Dumber, about what's going on with Anaya and how she has an issue with him not being serious enough. And that she was like, oh, you can talk to whoever, you can do whatever. And he was like, I just want her to know that I value her. And if I talk to someone, which I wasn't even trying to do, that it doesn't take away from like what we have. And Bryce is like, well, I feel like she just wants to like lock you up and make sure you're tight, which, what? But anyway, he was like, she said, oh, you should talk to Soul. Then you wouldn't even want to talk to Soul. And I said, no, I don't think so. And Casey was like, yeah, that's what she was saying. And it was kind of off putting because I didn't know if she was trying to be funny or not. And I doubt she was trying to be funny, especially after she was telling you to be more serious during serious conversations. And that was a serious conversation. So Casey claims to be over the soul situation. And I said, we'll see. And then Bryce was like, well, all you can do is be honest and say how you feel. And she's going to take it how she takes it. True. Simple, but solid advice right there. Just tell her how you feel. Stop trying to spare her feelings in the process because it's just going to make a bigger mess in the end with even more hurt feelings. Ask Sincere. Actually, don't ask him. It's not the same because he was just straight up lying, but you know what I'm getting at. So then Casey starts talking about Anaya and how they clicked, but he's like not finishing any of his sentences. So I don't know what he's trying to say. And he's like, I need someone with a more of a mindset like, and then he's like, like you and Kada. And I'm like, huh? It's like I'm confused. And then Zach is like, me and Kada are so different and that's why it works. And I said, okay, I don't I don't know what's going on. And then Casey is like, Anaya's just so serious all the time. And I could do that, but it's not fun and it feels like a job at this point. And I said, okay, so end it. That's a wild thing to say because if I'm Anaya or any person that I'm with says that about me, there's no coming back from it because you don't like me. You don't like who I am. It feels like a job being with me. No, that is crazy, Casey. That is crazy. Like, are you upset so you're just saying shit right now, or is that really how you feel? Because seriously, if it's really how you feel, you don't need to be with this woman. You need to leave her alone. And then he's like, I can't change myself for you. Like, this is me. I can't fake who I am to make you feel comfortable. That's fine. Like, you actually shouldn't do that. But the same way you're goofy and you play too much, she's serious, you know? Y'all are just not a good match. End of story. But side note, you can be as goofy as you want to be, but as a grown man, you have to know there's a time and a place to not be laughing and making those stupid faces. And that's for any situation. Relationships, friendships, with your parents, at work, all of that. And if you haven't learned that lesson yet, you need to, and you need to do it fast because that will most certainly get you in trouble at some point if it hasn't already. Well, we know it has. It's getting you in trouble right now, but outside of this villa, I mean. So then Caleb pulls oh my God, Gen Z. Caleb pulls Jen for a chat to talk to her about Kenzie and Corbin. And he's like, yeah, I told her that I'm going to be exploring. And I think it made her realize that I'm not going to be in her back pocket. And it bothers me, but I have to remind myself that she didn't choose to be in this couple. America did this. And here goes Jen, just saying shit again. She loves to just tell people what they want to hear. A lot like Sincere, to be honest, in a way. So she's like, I don't think she'll be dealing with Corbin much longer, especially if Melanie sets into the couple with Corbin, and that'll just push you and Kenzie even closer together. I said, Melanie isn't settling into shit, okay? She just talked to Sincere tonight, and he gave her false hope or real hope. Who knows with him, right? So at that point, I'm like, I'd be surprised if she even sleeps with Corbin tonight the way that she said she would, you know? But Caleb says he's happy with where they are and they just get closer and closer every day. And I said, okay. And then Jen's like, I'm happy with Gabe and I really like him because he makes me feel comfortable and wanted. Whatever, I don't care. So then Zach and Bryce chat. And Zach is like, the hideaway is just making all the girls want to get freaky. And then Bryce is like, so how are you feeling with Kada? And Zach is like, I think we're still open, but there's a high expectation to be more close, and that scares him. And he likes her, but it scares him. So why did you go and have sex with her? This is the shit that pisses me off. He has that stupid ass conversation about like, oh, we shouldn't be doing all this because what if a bombshell comes in that we want to talk to? And it's like, okay, so let's not take it any further than we already have. And then they get to go to the hideaway and he's like, fuck all that. Fuck whatever I was saying before. Okay. And after he gets his dick wet, he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about all this. Now there's all this pressure. You knew this would happen and you still did it, you asshole. Ugh, I hate this guy. And I already did for no real reason except for just vibes and who his brother is. So I'm happy to have an actual reason now. So then Bryce is like, I feel like Trinity is super into me, but I do wonder if her exact type comes in. And freaking Zach interrupts him. These people have a real issue with this. Let people finish what the fuck they're saying so that I can hear it and understand what is going on. Okay? So Zach interrupts and he's basically like, do you think she wants to fuck? And Bryce is like, yeah, I actually had to like stop it last night. And Zach's like, do you think that you'll do it while you're here? And he was like, I don't know. Yeah. Bryce, she's not super into you. Okay. She's just horny and confused. That's all. So in the dressing room, Melanie tells Kata that she and Sincere had a chat tonight, and she's like, yeah, but don't say anything. This is a secret. She was like, yeah, he said that he misses me and he doesn't want to close off our connection. But I told him because of all the lies that the ball is in his court and I need more than words. And as soon as she finished that sentence, who walks in but Soul. I had to laugh, like, of course. And Melanie was like, don't tell anyone. And they're like pinky promising, which didn't need to be done, right? Like, you already told her not to say anything at the beginning. Yeah, you can say it again, but the pinky promising while Soul is in there is annoying and it's like signaling something. And basically, what I'm saying is this is another attention thing for her. And I'm like, "Oh, Soul heard all of that, by the way." I feel like she cracked that door open and she was listening the whole time, heard what she needed to hear, and was like, "Okay, I'm going in now." Now downstairs, Sincere is telling Gabe about his chat with Melanie, and he's like, "It was good, it was the exact conversation I was looking for." Whatever that means. Oh my god, and then Soul was talking to Caleb, and she was like, "I feel like this house holds so many secrets." And I said, "Oh, you have no idea." Because remember, Kenzie and Corbin were in this very room earlier making out, talking about, let's not tell anybody. But that's not even what she's talking about. She was like, Melanie and Kato were whispering and pinky promising, and it's just weird. Something's going on. And speaking of weird, Trinity asked Kenzie if she had the chance, would she go back with Corbin? And she's like, I don't know. Oh, that's not what you were saying earlier when you were basically begging for his dick, you freak. Ugh, she's so annoying. This is what I mean. All the flip-flopping and pretending to be conflicted anytime someone other than Corbin asks her is really pissing me off, for real. And she's like, I don't know. I just want to be in a couple and feel secure and stay with someone. I don't want to keep switching beds. Well, then you need to go home to your bed in Kennesaw, Georgia, then. This is Love Island, where you switch beds quite a bit. Stupid. Ugh. So now it's time for bed, and everyone is getting it in, okay? Well, they're not getting it in. They're just making out, from what I can see, for now, okay? Who knows with this bunch? So Kata and Zach, Trinity and Bryce, ugh, Kenzie and Caleb, Sincere and Soul, and Melanie and Corbin. I said, yes, okay, now we're on to something. Now something is going on. Because I'm still shocked that she's sleeping in there, to be honest. Oh, and then Jen and Gabe are absolutely fucking, but whatever. And Casey and Anaya are sleeping, of course. So Casey wakes up irritated about the Anaya thing, and me too, because I'm tired of hearing about it. So then in the dressing room, Melanie asks Anaya what her reaction is going to be if Casey wants to explore Soul. And she's like, I'm really confident in our connection. My whole thing was the time and place about it. And I said, what are you talking about? I feel like she keeps changing her reason for being upset, and I'm annoyed. Like, they're both on my nerves so bad, and I really hate feeling like this about this Black couple. Like, it pains me for real. So Corbin makes Melanie breakfast with heart-shaped pancakes, and then he gives one of them to Kenzie. And I was like, no, stop giving her shit. It's annoying. Focus on Mel. Because I already wanted them to like give it a fair shot because why not? But now I want it to spite Kenzie. I'm sorry, that's my truth. And Melanie's feeling a way about Corbin giving her one of the pancakes, which is fair. So then Kenzie, Jen, and Soul chat, and Soul is loving that Sincere is calling her all these little nicknames and stuff. And she's like, he has pure energy and a pure heart, and he just wants to focus on us. And again, I had to laugh because pure heart and pure energy is hilarious if you're talking about Sincere. So then Kenzie says that her chat with Corbin last night was good. And she's like, we feel the same way where we miss our connection, but we're still trying to explore our other connections. But he's still giving me reassurance. And Jen was like, well, I wonder if he's telling Melanie that. And Soul was like, well, I mean, she has to see it between the two of you, right? Yes. And then Soul, I can tell she's been hanging out with Sincere too much because she's like, Kenzie is like a chicken with her head cut off because she has so many options. And I said, "It's just two, but okay." So she has so many options, and she's like, both of the boys are trying to catch the chicken, but Corbin caught the chicken and then he let go of the chicken. And then Caleb is like, I want that chicken. And I know exactly what she's saying, but does that not sound like one of those crazy things that Sincere be saying? Yes. So then Soul leaves them, and Kenzie says to Jen, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret because you're also blonde, and because of that and nothing else, I trust you. I made out with Corbin last night." And I said, "Kenzie, you dizzy bitch. Jen runs her mouth more than anyone in here, okay? She's gonna tell Caleb, and if she doesn't tell him, she's gonna tell some damn body in here, and it's gonna get out. Idiot." So after Kenzie told her, Jen was like, "Good, good. That's why he made you the heart pancake." And I was like, "Oh my God." And she was like, "He did that right in front of Melanie's face too." And I was like, "Damn." And Kenzie was like, "Well, I needed that shit. I needed it." She was so snotty the way she said it. I was like, "Girl, fuck you. I'm tired of her." So then Sincere tells Bryce and Zach about him telling Soul that he was going to have a chat with Melanie. And he said the chat was weird vibes, but they told each other that they miss each other and the door isn't closed. And he feels such strong emotions for both of them. And Zach was like, "Well, who do you want to be in a couple with now and prioritize?" And he was like, "Well, Soul and I are still growing, but it still hurts me that Melanie isn't coming down the stairs to me. So in true sincere fashion, he loves to do this. He does not answer the question, but he says a whole lot of shit. Like, he just did not answer the question. He's like, "I don't know who I would pick if I had a gun to my head." I said, oh boy. So then Melanie and Corbin chat, and Melanie was like, "I didn't love the pancake for Kenzie thing. Like, it makes me feel weird and it makes me want to get out of y'all's way." And he was like, "Well, don't self sabotage. If you like the way our connection is going, you can't be scared to step on toes." And I said, "It's true." But she's also leaving out the sincere portion of why she wants to get out of y'all's way. And he's leaving out him and Kenzie's makeout sessions. Oh, and then they're, like, cuddling, and he's like, "I don't wanna let you go, this feels nice," like, the same shit that he'd be saying to Kenzie. It's crazy. So then Kenzie and Caleb chat, and she's like, "Hearing Corbin and Melanie last night was hard, but it makes it easier for me to see them during the day," and Caleb feels like she's put in more effort with him since their chat yesterday. And I had to laugh, and she was like, "Yeah, I just wanna be more focused on us and growing our connection and getting deeper so we can get closer, and, oh, I'm so super attracted to you, blah, blah, blah." So now she's actually pulling a Sincere. She doesn't wanna focus more on him. She wants to focus on Corbin and his dick, okay? But since that's being done in secret, I guess she can just say whatever and pretend like she's being honest. So then she's like, "I'm trying to put myself first." And I said, that is all you've been doing this entire time. What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I feel closer with Caleb and I like being with him and I want to see more of that masculine side of him and feel like he can take care of me." And she was like, "If I saw him fixing an elevator, it would be a wrap." And I said, "Oh, brother, Kenzie, keep it in your pants." Jesus. And she tells him that she would go up to him at a bar and their lives would collide easily and it wouldn't be forced. And I think all of that is true, which is why America voted for them to be together. So she just needs to focus on him and leave Corbin alone. So then Sincere and Soul chat. And Sincere feels like they're getting closer, and she just feels like they're in such a good spot. And she loves that he's honest. And she doesn't have to guess with him. And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I try to do and just let my guard down and be upfront and honest." I said, "Oh my God." I can't. And then he's like, "I've never been with a woman like Soul," and it's just very appealing. And then, they talk about the past people they've dated and how they get to know people and get close to them, whatever, whatever. Soul is really happy with him though. So then Zach and Kata chat, and she's like, "Did you think you would come in here and find someone so quick?" And he was like, "No, I thought I'd explore more. Like I did think there'd be multiple people I'd be really wanting to get to know." And she was like, "Yeah, same." And then he was like, "Well, it could still happen." And she's like, "I know." And so again, why did y'all have sex? It's just very annoying. And now I'm like, oh. Both of y'all are gonna show your asses in Casa, aren't you? And you know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. I would like to see it. Mostly from Kata's side. I don't give a fuck what Zach does. I want Kata to find someone else in Casa, bring them back, and then just fucking be with them. So then Kenzie and Corbin talk, and it's raining. It's been raining this whole episode, by the way. And she's like, I love listening to rain at night. And she's like, I could sleep in soul ties and listen to the rain. And I said, see, this is her dropping hints about them sleeping in soul ties so that they can hook up. And he was like, oh, you should give it a try. They're not fooling me. I'm telling you. So then they get a text that there's gonna be a recoupling that night and that they have to write a love letter to the person that they want to couple up with. And I said, oh, you have my attention. This is new. So Casey looks annoyed. Anaya is happy because this gives her the chance to like really explain to Casey how she feels. Okay, whatever. Melanie is stressed because she doesn't know who she's going to pick. And I really am wondering how this is going to go. Like, what are the rules? Because if Melanie writes to Sincere, but he writes to Soul, and Soul writes to Sincere, then what? Like, whoever is the odd man out is fucked? Like, I'm so interested to see. And the girls were saying the same thing. So everyone gets their pen and paper and they get to writing. And I don't know why they're all acting like this is so stressful deciding what to write. Like, just write what you would say if it was a regular recoupling. I feel like it's actually better because you get more time to think about it and like organize your thoughts instead of just standing up there and saying whatever comes to mind. Like, I would thrive. But of course, I understand why the people in the triangles are stressed because it's like, okay, who do you write to? But everyone else, shut up and write, you know? And oh my God, they're like, where's Chat GPT when you need it? And I said, this is so sad. Like, it's not even funny. It's sad and it's scary. Like, these people can't do anything without Chat GPT. Oh my God, what is never mind. I can't go there. So everyone's getting ready and just stressing and wondering what's about to happen. And Anaya was like, if I don't get a letter, y'all are going to see activated Anaya. And I was like, kind of want to see that. And Casey is still talking about how annoyed he is. His face is all balled up. Like, he is not in the mood. Caleb says he used to write his girlfriend letters, so he's loving this shit. And then Sincere asked KC if he hadn't made a move on Soul, would he have done it? And Casey was like, yeah, I would have been more open to it. And I said, what a loser. I'm sorry, but if you wanted to talk to Soul, you should have, regardless of who else was pulling her. Like, she's a bombshell. This is stupid. Ugh, so then Ariana comes looking in good as usual, although I do not love the bangs. But that's all right. So she's like, everyone's letters have been delivered, so let's get to it. So they all have to stand next to their mailboxes, and they might have a letter and they might not. So in their current couples, they're going to open their mailboxes. If they have a letter, they have to read it out loud and say who it's from. If a boy and a girl have both written to each other, they're going to be a couple. If your mailbox is empty, you're going to be single. I said, ooh. When I tell y'all my heart rate was up listening to those rules, I was so excited. So, first up is Trinity and Bryce. They, of course, wrote to each other and they read their letters. They both said very nice things. Great. I'm still not buying it, but that's all right. So, they're in a friendship couple. Cute. Jen and Gabe are up next, and of course, they write to each other. Who else were they going to write to? I said, let's move this along and get to the interesting ones, okay? But they actually said very nice things in their letters, and Jen even wrote like a little something in Portuguese, which was very sweet. So they are a couple. Great. Now, Anaya and Casey are up next, and Anaya writes him a letter talking about how she's a princess waiting for her Prince Charming, and he's made her feel all these feelings, and that he's her protector and makes her feel safe, and her past makes it hard for her to believe that someone would want her for her, and she only wants him, and she wants to continue her fairy tale in the villa with him, her prince. And I'm sorry. My first thought was, oh, brother, I forgot that she is one of those fairy tale girlies. Because y'all know how I feel about that. Like, grow up. Fairy tales are not real. So, anyway, It was a really nice letter, fairy tale aside, and Casey really liked it. So then Casey wrote Anaya a really nice letter about how, they've had their differences and they're working through it. And life was really hard for him growing up, and humor helped him deal with it. And he's grateful for her and their connection and other nice things. It was very sweet. But I'm still annoyed by them. Okay. Because I know we've had like this nice moment and we're still together, but the issues are still there. Like, nothing has been resolved. It's been swept under the rug, really. And the main issue is still there, which is they are not compatible. And the issues are gonna come back up again, unfortunately. But for now, they're happy and they're in a couple, so congrats. We'll just live in the moment, I guess. So then Kata and Zach are up next. They write nice letters to each other that we don't really need to get into. They're still a couple. Wonderful. Next up is Kenzie and Caleb. So Kenzie opens her mailbox and she has 2 letters. And I said, damn it. Oh, it's so annoying because I know she just loved it, even though she's like, I just want one. It's so hard to juggle them. I know. She was so excited to see 2 fucking letters in her mailbox and I hated it. So I was like, oh no, this is bad news for Melanie if she doesn't get a letter from Sincere. I was stressed. So the first letter talks about being lost in her eyes and her beauty goes further than her looks and her energy and presence just lifts him up and he feels closer to her with every conversation and kiss and she's so open with her communication and she's honest and that makes him be the same way, blah blah blah. Obviously that was from Caleb. Now, the second letter talks about their amazing connection and they have something that's not worth giving up. And his energy feels brighter when she's with him. And she makes him feel wanted and makes him want to be the best version of himself. And he's proud of them for exploring their connections while keeping theirs alive. And he cares for her from Corbin. So Caleb opens up his mailbox and it's empty. Oh, poor Caleb. Poor Caleb. So obviously she wrote to Corbin and she doesn't want to be in a couple with Caleb. Can't say that I'm surprised, but I don't know. I think Caleb was a little surprised because of what she's been telling him, but whatever. So next up is Melanie and Corbin. And we already know that Melanie doesn't have a letter from Corbin because he wrote to Kenzie. So he opens up his mailbox and he has a letter. The letter talks about finding someone that makes her laugh and, he's hot and they have a strong connection right off the bat. She loves his deep voice and his goofy laugh and she misses the heart-shaped pancakes and most of all, she misses him. This is from Kenzie, obviously. So now Corbin and Kenzie are a couple again and they can freely fuck and get it out of their systems and then go to Casa and show their asses because I know that's what they're going to do. So now it's just Melanie, Soul, and Sincere left. So Sincere opens up his mailbox to 2 letters, of course. The first letter says they have a magnetic connection and they'll be with each other for a while and her nervous system gets to rest, blah, blah, blah. I actually think it was a poem. Did some of it rhyme or am I tripping? But yeah, after hearing the nervous system thing, I was like, okay, that letter is from Soul. And it was. Now, the second letter says she fell fast and she didn't see it coming. And she likes how he makes her feel. And laughing with him and learning about him and his family makes her giddy. And the Sour Patch Kids birthday, whatever. And she's been waiting for an opportunity to tell him how she feels again. And she can see a future with him. That was from Melanie. So now Soul has to open up her mailbox. She opens it up and it's empty. And I said, so much for her nervous system being able to rest. What did I say? You just never know with Sincere. And like I said on the last episode, or maybe before that, he's had a few really calm days in a row but the man thrives in a toxic and chaotic situation, and I think he's getting bored. So even though I believed he was just like in love with Soul, like just smitten, really into her, he's gonna go to what's comfortable. And that's the chaos and the drama and the toxicity that is Melanie, right? So Melanie opens up her mailbox and she, of course, has a letter from Sincere and says that, he felt close to home with her, and then something about a broken glass and you can't put it back together, and now the broken glass is part of their story. Classic Sincere, okay? And he loves her laugh and smile, and their time apart showed him that he needs her, and they make sense outside of the villa, and he's going to learn from his past mistakes, and he's coming home to her or something. So they're both happy to be back in a couple together. And Sincere is gonna show his ass in Casa. So enjoy it while you can, Mel. Okay. And I'm sorry that I keep bringing up Casa, but let's talk about this for a second. Like I think I mentioned it last episode, but I saw that they are going to have Casa shown in theaters on, I believe it's Tuesday next week or the 22nd, whatever day that is. And like that's cool, but I think I don't like knowing when Casa is this far ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to just be watching an episode and then at the end, they're like, Casa is coming. And they show the sign and it lights up. You know what I'm talking about? So now that I know that it's on the horizon, I can't stop thinking about it and referencing it. Because honestly, we should be getting some more bombshells in here before Casa, but whatever, Casa's on the brain and it's coming and great, great. Hurry up, hurry up. So anyway, back to the mailboxes. So Mel and Sincere are back together, and now Soul and Caleb are a couple. You gotta love the couples that are put together by default. So that was the episode. We got a vote, and it was who's your favorite couple? And I gotta tell y'all, normally with a vote like this, I know who I'm voting for immediately. No problem at all. But I had a really hard time with this one because I don't believe in any of these couples or like necessarily like them or support them, you know? Like I really wish that I could vote for individuals because the couples are like kind of a joke, you know? So I ended up voting for Casey and Anaya just because black, you know? I'm rooting for everybody black. And they had the best letters. And it's not even about the letters, but do you see like when it's shit like this, you go looking for reasons and it's really stupid. Like, and I'm also not gonna lie, I was very close to voting for Sincere and Melanie because at least like they are actually into each other and I don't hate them as much as I do the other couples or certain individuals in those couples, but I truly did not know what to do. Like I just it did not feel good. This vote did not feel good at all. I don't feel good about my vote, but even if I changed it, I still wouldn't feel good about it. But I'm not gonna not vote. I'm a black woman. You know what I mean? So who did y'all vote for? Please tell me in the comments. And there's truly no judgment because this was an impossible vote. Like every choice sucks for different reasons. And I really don't know how this is going to go. So I'm just curious to see what y'all's votes looked like to see what's going to happen. Well, actually, Caleb and Soul might be in the bottom, right? Because they're not a couple, but I don't know. I don't know. I just wonder who the favorite is gonna be. And of course, we gotta wait until tomorrow night to find out because there's no new episode tonight. So that means no new Love Island recap from me tomorrow. But I will have a Summer House episode for you tomorrow. So there is that. Remember to check me out on YouTube, follow me on social, subscribe to my Patreon for ad free and bonus episodes. And everything will be linked in the show notes. All right. I'll talk to y'all again soon. Love you. Bye.
Bitch. Is that better? Is bitch better? Is bitch better? Is bitch better?